If you ever made it to Altus Plateau, you probably missed out on a bunch of quests. Elden Ring doesn't really do a good job at explaining them. I mean, how are you supposed to see everything an NPC has to offer when you cannot even track a single quest? It would take days of research to even just try and complete all of the quests when it's probably not even possible to do everything in a single run. What kind of loser would have that much time on their hands? So I bought the official guide for Elden Ring and read through 200 pages of NPC stuff to put together the ultimate all-NPC dialogue Elden Ring run. And trust me, we have all been missing out big time, starting off with summoning Yura. All you have to do is talk to him first, tickle the dragon, and return without defeating it. Your self-esteem will take a charge there too, but after that, his summon sign appears next to the stage. He's not particularly smart, and summoning disables your horse, but hey, at least he's cool. Once you return to the Church of Eli at night, Renna will ask you if you're Tauren's new master. Usually you tell her yes and she moves on, but I found it way funnier to just keep denying it until she literally compliments my paranoia and still leaves the items for me. Probably the coolest thing about this entire run was getting to Redmane Castle early. While you cannot teleport into it until the Rodan festival and the gates remain closed until after, you can use this hidden side path as an entrance instead of an exit and talk to Jaren way earlier. He will introduce himself, talk about the festival, and if you talk to EG before, he will also tell you to let him know that the festival will set Ranni's fate in motion. More on that in a minute. Her fate can also be decided as you progress through Sullivan's questline. Once he trusts you with his plan to find an amber shard, you can visit Pydia and buy the map that will point you to where the shard can be found. Once obtained and returned, you can attempt to give it to sleeping Ranni to turn her into a puppet, except that she will wake up and call you out. But if you cannot read very obvious cues and try again, she will just snap you out of existence and disappear, turning hostile with all of her followers and killing Sullivan and Pydia. But by using a Celestial Dew, you can undo this, and while Sullivan and Pydia luckily remain dead, the rest will forgive you, allowing for full completion of all Ranni-related questlines in a single run. Celestial Dew is often misunderstood, so let me quickly correct that. According to Miriel, Radagon used it for absolution himself, undoing any aggression towards him. And that is pretty much all it does. If you hit an NPC by accident or make them angry through, I don't know, betrayal or treason, you can just make them forgive and forget. Contrary to what you might find online, however, it does not revive any dead NPCs, not even merchants. On the topic of forgiving, if you're holding a grudge against Patches and just cannot resist hitting him again after he surrenders, he will continue to fight but eventually offer you to surrender. The only way to do that is to die, but it gives you a special gesture, and after that the quest can be continued as if nothing ever happened. And on the topic of forgetting, during the Volcano Manor questline, specifically Raya's part, you will obtain the Tonic of Forgetfulness, intended to make her forget about snakes. But if you choose to spare her, the tonic will never end up being used until you reach the snowfields, where Corrin and Goldmask wait. Corrin will complain about intrusive thoughts, to which you can offer him the Tonic of Forgetfulness. He will be hesitant at first, but still take it, and after Farum Azula, you will find him not in the Ashen Capital, but instead back at the mountaintops, confused as to where Goldmask went. Reloading will show that weirdo also forgot his clothes and ran away. You can call out Patches after falling for his trap. It's agonizingly tricky to find him laying it, because you have to be in Mount Gelmir before being part of Volcano Manor. I know, because in my run, I forgot. 20 hours of reading bullet points and listening to Melena's lullaby just to realize I made a mistake. I cannot miss those precious few sentences, but I will never do those 20 hours again. So I did it again. Turns out he just kicks you off and laughs at you, which I honestly deserve at this point. Returning to him, however, will give you the calm down gesture if you haven't gotten it already, which is fucking hilarious by the way, and he will tell you that it was just a warning to avoid the manor. But all is good, because when he is near death and gives you his little yo-yo to ask you to bring it to Tanith as his last wish, she ends his whole career by simply not caring. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, we can find Ghost Dog stalking us and stealing 30% of our runes whenever we die. He will appear at 4 scripted locations once you walk far enough into the castle, and turning around to go talk to him results in very awkward dialogue and a few shitty items. It's very complicated and honestly not worth the effort, but if you talk to him in the 2 locations I showed, he will no longer stalk you, which prevents your runes from being stolen. Vare is a good example of something I like to call the return dialogue, where you do a thing and return for some extra dialogue about the thing TM. These are usually the about options and happen a lot in this game, especially with Millicent and Gori, where you can find Gori slowly coping with his daughter's fate and even find him crying near the end. Kale will tell you more about Blight after meeting him, EG will tell you Blight's true origin, and Vare will tell you, step by step, how to become a proper member of the Round Table Hold. It helps make the world feel more alive and allows you to ask other NPCs for advice when you're unsure, which is very immersive even if most people don't care. Melina has some unique dialogue in the form of Marika's spoken echoes. These can usually be found at churches or key graces and serve as some form of extra lore, kind of like Vati but way less cool. Like this one, where she talks about the time Queen Marika sent away Godfrey and the Tarnished to fight a war somewhere else. And don't forget the depressing Bog dialogue that requires some back and forth between the two of you and helps you figure out that poor Bog just wants to be lied to. Speaking of Bokoblin, once you get to Lendl, you can give him either a Laval Tear, which will kill him, or beat Morgott and then return to talk to him, which will start some of the saddest dialogue in the game, and also kill him if you reload the area. But fear not, If you use the prattling pate after either of those options, but before you reload the area, you can still prevent him from dying. Another NPC that can be saved from a terrible fate is Selen. If you don't actually go looking for Lusat, she will never turn into the ball thing at the end of her quest. So if you don't care about the armor and spell, and Renalis, where did the flea, annoys you, there's your solution. She can also be summoned for the Red Wolf fight if you wait long enough with exploring the academy, and might be the single most useless companion in the entire game. Once you obtain the first half of the Erdtree medallion and talk to Latenna, she will turn into a spirit dash to help you along the way. Everyone knows you can summon her near Wolf for her to ride it, but it's less known that once you make it to the mountaintops with her equipped, she will talk to you and guide you to the second half of the medallion. The same thing happens when you first enter the snowfields. Except those two dialogue options are bugged and have not worked since the middle of 2022. This hilarious looking cutscene happens right after Radahn at the Bloodhunt Ever jail, where Blight seems to have been trapped. After helping him out, you can go and ask EG about it, who will admit to being the culprit because he feared that Blight will kill Ranni. Long story short, the stars held back by Radahn sort of freeze Ranni's fate as an Empyrean. Blight is fated to turn against her if she betrays the Fingers, which is why EG put him in timeout. And lastly, here are some short, but still very interesting facts. Rogia, if given the Black Knife print hinted at by Fear, will tell you about Ranni, allowing you to call her out for starting the Night of the Black Knives, the one that killed Godwyn, and then return to Rogia to plan your betrayal of Ranni. Ranni's doll has more dialogue when talking to her after her quest is done, where she basically just product places her ending. Giving Selen Seluvis's introduction starts the Radahn festival for some reason. Vari has different dialogue if the first Shardbearer is not Godric. Shabriri can be summoned for Godfrey if you choose the Madness ending and actually chonks him. Hayeda throws up if you tell her the grapes are human eyes. While making your way down to the Madness stuff, Melina will appear on almost every single grace, begging you not to do it. The only time you can kill Gory for real is when he's mourning over his daughter's death, which is just absolutely fucked up. All of Ofni's rewards for taking down the Shardbearers can be bought by the Twin Husks after killing him, making that little roach entirely useless, and Beast Clergyman can be found yelling at the Erdtree during the very rare time of day called late night, and that's not the only thing happening during that time of day, more on that in this video.